Welcome, everybody, to the CFL Weekly Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. We are Week 12. The CFL Weekly Pick'em Show is brought to you by Replenishing Care Technologies, the future of sports medicine. To check them out, go to gruelingtruth.net. I am one of your co-hosts for the show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in one of the co-hosts. He is now the defensive coordinator of the National Arena League champions. Help me welcome to the show, Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Schmitty?
Doing good. I feel like you should have had "We Are the Champions" playing for me. I kind of disappointed.
Yeah, don't push it, Schmitty. All right. All right, and of course, our other co-host won 4 Grey Cups in the CFL. Help me welcome to the show, Robert Drummond. How you doing, Robert?
Doing pretty good. How's everything going?
All right, now see, Schmitty, Robert didn't ask for special music for winning 4 championships. You shouldn't ask for 1.
Well, I was just gonna say, I kind of feel like you should have had "We Are the Champions" playing for him too.
Oh, okay.
I kind of feel like you dropped the ball twice tonight.
Yeah, but you should have started off with that, and then I wouldn't have shut you down so quick. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Beat the Edmonton Eskimos. And once again, guys, the Edmonton Eskimos last week we talked about as possibly being the second best team in this league. And Schmitty, we jinxed it again.
We did. It's like a Sports Illustrated curse with us.
Yeah. But it's a curse for second.
That's true. I'm not sure how that works, but it doesn't seem like that should matter, but it seems like it does. So I don't know.
Yeah, and once again, when you look at the stats, I mean, the stats were pretty even on both sides. Jeremiah Masoli, though, played well, threw for 419 yards, Robert. But the thing that stood out to me was Alex Green with 19 carries for 104 yards. What's your take on this Hamilton team? Because they've been all over the place all year.
I mean, they're an enigma. I mean, there's so much parity in the CFL this year, you know, from stemming from the top down. I think we all can sit here and agree that Calgary stands as a monster by himself, you know. They're the most dominant team in the CFL. They've been that for years, you know. But as we said before, the team trying to, you know, sit there and establish themselves as a second-place team, you know, never steps up. Though Edmonton played great last week. This week, they laid an egg. You know, as you said, Masoli went out there and had a great game. But I don't know if Hamilton is as good as Edmonton just made himself look that bad. But there's a lot of parity in the CFL, which makes it a very, very interesting league. It will make it a very, very interesting playoff run.
Yeah, and the thing about that parity, Schmitty, is this, though. When you watch this, almost any of these teams are capable of playing out of their minds and giving anybody a go, even Calgary.
That's the whole thing is I think we're setting ourselves up for another playoff that it's going to be who's the hot hand in the playoff, not necessarily who's the best team or best 2 teams. Hamilton is a team that I could see going into the playoffs and being a hot hand, or getting thumped in the first game. I mean, and you could say that with Winnipeg, you could say it with Edmonton, you could say it with Ottawa. I think that's where it's going to get interesting is when we get to the playoffs. Who becomes the hot hand? Because as we've seen, Ottawa, Toronto last year, it's not so. It's about getting there. Once you get there, if you get hot, now you've got a great opportunity.
Yeah, and let's go to Montreal, Toronto, which last year's Grey Cup champions look like they're on the ropes now, Robert. With Johnny Manziel sidelined for the second week in a row, Antonio Pipkin comes in, runs for 2 touchdowns. Boris Beatty kicked a late go-ahead field goal, sending the Alouettes to a 25-22 win over the Argonauts. Can we put a nail in Toronto now, or do you still see where they can come back from here, Robert?
That's a tough loss, especially to a team that's in such disarray as Montreal. I mean, I wouldn't say you can conjectively put a nail in them right now, but the nail definitely started. You know, you got one hit with that hammer on that nail right now because that's a bad loss, just mentally for a team. To lose to a team as bad as Montreal, that's a bad loss.
Yeah, and the thing stands out to me for Toronto is James Wilder Jr. again. 3 yards a carry, 9 carries, 29 yards, Brian. And I don't know if this is a question that Montreal is getting better or just the teams 2 through 8 are so hit and miss that every once in a while Montreal's going to back into a win.
Yeah, I think that maybe there's a little bit of truth to that. I think just everything 2 through 8 is such a jumble right now. And I know, Robert said it, the parity and everything that really anybody can beat anybody on a given week. And, we look at Montreal and we say they should not be able to win a game, but, here they are, winning game. And I think with Toronto, I don't think we can put a nail in them yet, but I think we're lining up the nail because it really is. This is one of those losses that I know, and I've been through it. I mean, it stings, and it stings for a couple weeks. It's hard to get past it. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. But that was a rough loss.
All right, and then, of course, as usual, you get the Calgary Stampeders. And they may have trailed for 39, 40 minutes at the start of the game, but they righted the ship eventually, put it in cruise control en route to a 39-26 win over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Brian, this is just kind of what we always see, and we knew going into this that no matter what Winnipeg did, Calgary wasn't going to lose 2 games in a row.
No, and watching Calgary sometimes is kind of fun because, even, at certain points in this game, they're down, but you never once felt like they were going to lose this game. It's almost like they give everybody that false sense of security, and then all of a sudden they just go, oh, here we go, and they get that one mistake, and then they just pile it on. And this was kind of one of those Calgary wins where they really did that and offensively looked very good doing it.
Yeah, and I think Brian hit on something important there, Robert. It's when you make a mistake against Calgary, it's over. So the thing is, when you play Calgary, you may be giving your best effort, but in the back of your mind, if you make one small mistake, you're going to lose the game because they don't let you get away with making any mistakes.
No, Calgary is a very solid team, and as you said earlier, you don't expect, for a fact that Calgary is not going to lose 2 games in a row. So it's just, it's a chess game. You're just waiting to sit. You're sitting there waiting for them to make a move that puts them in front of where you can't get you. Off the field, also, with their drafting and and their selection of players. So they surround themselves with the players that fit into a mold of, as we said, if we can compare it to like the New England Patriots, where they're just a solid team, top to bottom, offense, defense, special teams. So you go into a game thinking Calgary's going to win. How can they mess this up? And if they don't mess the game up as they did last week, the front runner, and they are the front runner in the CFL.
All right, then we go to what I think is the second best team now, and that's the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They came out on top of a hard-fought 24-21 road victory over the BC Lions. The Riders improved to 5-3, moved into 3rd place in the CFL West. But right now, Robert, I think with the defense they have, the special teams they have, and Zach Collaros back at quarterback, I think this has to be the team that you have to look at as number 2 right now, which means they're in trouble this week. You there, Robert?
I think we lost Robert.
All right. Brian, you want to answer that?
Yeah, and I just got a call from Saskatchewan that said, please don't call them the second best team. So
it's too late.
But no, you're right. I mean, it's they play good defense. I like that they've been efficient offensively. When you have a great defense, you can be efficient offensively without doing a whole lot of things, and you're going to win games because you're not going to make mistakes. And that's one of the things that they're doing right now. So, we can call them the second best team for this week, and, next week we'll change it because we've just jinxed them.
Yeah, Robert, you there? Robert?
I think we lost Robert.
Yeah, I think we had some technical difficulties with Robert. We did it to start. That's why we couldn't start the show right away. Let's go ahead, and we'll go ahead and pick the games for next week. I think we made it through everything there, right? We start tomorrow night, Friday night, Montreal at Ottawa. Brian, any chance of an upset here?
No, Montreal gets one once in a while, but I'm going to go with Ottawa.
Yeah, I think we're going to go with Ottawa just because I think they're the second or third best team in this league right now. I think the two teams with the best chance to beat Calgary would be Saskatchewan or the Ottawa Red Blacks. All right. Robert, you there?
I'm here. You guys, I dropped you or you dropped me. I don't know what happened.
I don't know either, but we got you back. We're picking the games. Me and Schmidt both went with Ottawa. I'm sure you'll want to go with Montreal to even it out a little bit, right?
Not a chance. Montreal got their lucky charm. Their rabbit split last week, and they won't do that again against Ottawa.
All right, now we've got what I think is one of the more interesting games of the week. I think there's two, and those two are the ones we're going to pick next. We got Winnipeg at Saskatchewan. I'm going to go with the Riders. I'm going to think they are the second best team in this league, and that we aren't a jinx. It's just everybody else is really up and down. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, when you play solid defense and you're efficient offensively, that gives you a good opportunity, and I'll take Saskatchewan.
All right, Robert.
Yeah, Saskatchewan's playing great defense right now. And I always say defense wins championship and defense wins you game. Offense is the sexy part of football, and being an offensive player might be tough for me to say that, but I understood that it is. We're the ones that are in the paper, gets the headlines, it gets put on the posters, and do everything that promotes the team. But it's defense that wins the championship and wins the game. And right now, Saskatchewan is just playing great defense, and I'm going to go with Saskatchewan.
Yeah, and I think Chris Jones is a really good football coach, and I think Saskatchewan at the end is going to win the Grey Cup. I said that at the start of the year. I'm going to stay with it now. I was quiet for a few weeks there where they sucked, but now with Collaros back, I think Saskatchewan wins this game. Next up, Mike Riley against Bo Levi Mitchell. Robert, Edmonton out Calgary.
Oh, you don't expect Mike Riley to have the two losses and two bad games in a row, but it's hard, very, very hard to bet against Calgary. Calgary is, as I said before, a solid team by top to bottom, and I got to go with Calgary.
All right, Brian.
Calgary. I think Riley will have a solid game, but in the end, Calgary just usually always finds a way to win, and I think they'll find a way to win this.
All right. I agree. I got to go with Calgary. It would not surprise me if Mike Riley plays a great game, but it would surprise me if they get the win in the end at Calgary. Next up, we've got the Toronto Argonauts at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And Hamilton's schizophrenic here, Brian. Are you going to go with them, or will Toronto jump up? Because Toronto still has weapons with Wilder that if he goes off at any time, gives him a chance to beat anybody.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Hamilton in this, but I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto wins this. But I think it's an even game. I'm going to go with Hamilton.
All right, Robert.
Wilder Jr. has 20 or more carries and over 130 plus yards. Toronto will win, but I'm going to go with Hamilton because I don't think Toronto will feed him the ball and allow him to be able to get the offense going, which is what they need right now. So I definitely got to go with Hamilton.
Yeah, I agree. You got to go with Hamilton here, but it would not surprise me. I mean, nothing would surprise me this year in the CFL. I mean, it's just because it's been so crazy. All right. We're out of time already. I mean, we're only like 15 minutes in. We got that done way too quick, guys. Brian, anything you want to talk about?
Just been enjoying my week. So it was a nice time to be able to come on and talk to you guys for a little bit. But I'm going to go back to celebrating.
Now, wait a second. Do you have somebody to go with you on the cruise yet?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, and looking forward to that as well. 4-night, 5-day cruise, and all drinks are inclusive. So
wait a second. You can't hook me and Robert up?
Did you play We Are the Champions for me and Robert?
Yeah, I can play We Are the Champions for you and Robert whenever you want if you're hooking me and Robert up with a free trip.
Well, if you would have had that plan, I would have hooked you up. But Robert, I'm willing to hook up. But
I don't think you are. I think you're just playing Robert lip service right now, which is very disrespectful.
I can only take one, and she would be mad if I didn't take her. So.
Yeah. All right. Robert, any final words since we just got slapped in the face by Schmidt?
I mean, as I said earlier, the CFL, with the exception of Calgary, their dominance is such a parity this year. Teams that we think should win don't. Teams that we think probably will lose win. So that's the interesting enigma of football. On any given day you can be beaten, so you have to approach every single game as if you're the dominant team. Calgary has that mantra, that mentality. When they walk out there, they're the most dominant team. Did they slip up last week? Yes, they did. And I said before, they'll probably end up losing 2 to 3 games this year. But that's what CFL football is. That's what football is. When I played in Toronto with Doug Flutie, we were the dominant team. But both years we ended up losing 2 or 3 games because at some point you go into a game thinking that you're so dominant that the other team will fold, and they don't. Every single weekend and week out, you're going to get the best from every single team.
How about this, Robert? We're looking at a scenario that's real similar to the last 2 years. And in both of those years, Calgary goes and they lose the Grey Cup to a team that's 500, right around 500. How much more pressure is going to be on them this year?
Oh, tremendous pressure. They're a dominant team. As I said before, when I played with Flutie, we were the dominant team. We were 15-3 both years. We were the talk of the town. We were the most powerful team in the CFL. So all the pressure, was on us to perform and go out there and win. It was expected for us to win. So the pressure is on the team who's got to win. Saskatchewan, our second year, and Edmonton, our first year, 96. They were relaxed as you've ever been. So it's a lot of pressure on Calgary right now. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Look at Toronto winning it all last year. No one expected that.
Yeah, Toronto won a year before.
They got hot at the right time. In football, it lets you the dominant teams that plays well, not just physically, mentally. It's all about getting hot at the right time.
Well, and it's kind of like the Patriots are 5-3 in Super Bowls because you get to that many big games. At some point, something's going to go wrong.
Yes. I mean, there's parity in all leagues. The NFL, you have your dominant teams, but they lose. The Eagles weren't supposed to beat the Patriots last year. The Patriots are the two-headed monster. They have Belichick, they have Brady, they have a very, very good defense. They're a sound team, a great organization. But the Eagles found a way to win. When you're on top, you always have somebody looking to knock you off. Doesn't matter who you are, and that's week in and week out.
All right, Brian, any opinion on that? Because I look at Calgary like this. As a Bengals fan, I know you're a Steeler fan. If you were playing the New England Patriots, even if you're winning the game with 20 seconds left by 10 points, you almost expect to lose the game.
Oh, yeah. It's that mindset, I mean, we've seen this. I know I experienced it a few years ago, in the league that I was in, and you see it with the Patriots, you see it with Calgary. You go in with as much bravado that, hey, we're going to win, but there's always little things. It can be, a turnover. It can be something that all of a sudden puts that doubt in your mind. And once that doubt's in your mind, that's where teams like Calgary and the Patriots, that's where they just eat you up, because once they have you at that point, they don't let you get out of that mindset. So, a turnover, they turn around and score. Now, all of a sudden, you start pressing. Well, now you turn it over again, and it just starts to snowball. And once it snowballs, you can't stop it. So it's, what you said is accurate. I mean, you can go in and play the Patriots or Calgary and be up 10 and with very little time left, but they're still in your mind that what are they going to do to somehow pull out 11 points here in a few seconds and win this game. So it's very difficult, and it takes a team to not only beat them, but then to be able to beat them consistently.
All right. Now, I've Here you go. Can you hear it?
Barely.
All right. Now me and Robert are hooked up with a cruise, right?
Well, probably not.
Oh, that's bull crap. You know it is. Robert, you heard me say we were going if I played that.
No, I said you should have played it at the beginning. You didn't play it at the beginning.
Yeah. All right. I see how you are. All right, Wes. We're going to wrap it up. We'll be back next week to talk about all the Week 12 games and to preview all the Week 13 games. Remember to listen to Survive in Advance with me and former national champion on the 1981 Indiana Hoosiers, Steve Risley. Every Monday through Friday at noon, we'll start all our NFL talk next week. Maybe we get Robert or Schmidt on to talk a little NFL. I don't know. It all kind of bores me anymore, but other people seem to like it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the show up. You can hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find the grueling truth. So for Robert Drummond, I'm Mike Goodpaster, and Brian Schmidt owes us a trip.
All right.